Hello and welcome back to the channel. Many of you have probably already heard that the rapper DMX was hospitalized and he is facing serious health issues after a heart attack, and this is all drug related as well. And so he's in a coma, and they are saying that things are not looking too good for him, and the family is saying that if he dies, they want to pursue murder charges for those or the person who sold him the drugs. Now the question is this: in a situation such as this, where someone may have gotten a hold of some bad drugs or they may have overdosed on some drugs, do you go after the drug dealer? Now, it seems like the obvious answer would be yes. Most people would say yes, you go after the drug dealer. But it is my belief that when a person engages in a certain lifestyle, you are using drugs and you're doing certain things, that there's a certain amount of fault that has to be given towards the person who is using the drugs. Because we are presented with so many different scenarios in life where people are not just using drugs or drinking, but even the food that we eat. Even the food that we eat. This goes deeper than who's responsible for the man's death, right? It goes a lot deeper than that. When you are using drugs, that is a lifestyle that is very dangerous. And so if you start at this point saying, okay, we're going to go after the drug dealer, especially if it's not sure if the drugs were tainted. Was it just an overdose, or were they spiked intentionally? There are a number of different things you have to look at here, right? Now, there are cases where this sort of thing does happen. Okay, we can't deny that. But wouldn't that have to be proven? Because from my standpoint, no one should be using drugs, period. Anyway. Okay? No one should be using drugs anyway. And so, where does the real blame lie? Does it fall on the drug dealer or the drug user? Because that is a conscious effort to abuse your body with drugs. Now let me get back to the food real quick. I know that many of you may not agree with this because you're saying, okay, I'm a fan of DMX, and if he dies, then someone should be charged. Now, let me ask you this. When you have a loved one who dies as a result of eating a certain type of food or a certain type of diet, should I say, for decades, and they die from a heart attack or a stroke or anything that is related to the buildup of bad health as a result of what they've eaten, do you have the same conviction? Do you think that you can now go after those who produce the food that was eaten by your loved one? See, sometimes we look at things because we are fans, or we look at the tragedy in something and we don't think clearly nor rationally. And so we will say things or make judgment calls that are not necessarily the right judgment call. Now, let me just clarify something here. I feel that drug dealers do hold some amount of blame for distributing drugs, but this is something that has been happening for so long, and you have people out here knowing that others are dying from the use of drugs, but they continue to go after it anyway. And when you look at when you follow the chain of command, for lack of a better word, those drugs lead back to some place that usually doesn't originate in the hood. So you got a lot of people to take down. And so within that chain of command, do you just take down the person who ultimately sells the drug to the end user? or the producer of the drugs. You see, if we're going to be fair, I say you need to go all the way to the top, and begin there. But most of us don't know how to look at these things rationally. We just look at, hey, here's the fellow who sold it to him on the streets. This is the person that needs to be held responsible. So I think looking at the bigger picture, you have a whole system that needs to come down as relates to the use of drugs. But in this case, I'm trying to get back to the point of, do you go after the individual who sold the stuff because DMX is in grave condition right now? And I think that there's a lot of responsibility on the heads of the drug user, because there are risks, and there are risks, and there have been risks for a very long time. A very long time. But again, we can't just look at this one thing. We can't just look at this drug incident because we are fans or we like the fellow's music or his talent. Look at all of the people who have died as a result of how they have eaten food that was processed a certain way, chemically altered, genetically altered, producing heart attacks, strokes, high blood pressure, all kinds of ailments in your body, what you eat. But no one talks about that, because that means they have to advocate against that burger that they love so much, or against their favorite fast food restaurant. And they believe that because it's a slow kill that I can't necessarily blame. Most people think like this, because they don't see the effects right away, like you eat a burger and then boom, all of a sudden you have a heart attack. Most people look at it like this: if I don't die right away, then I can't necessarily blame it on the burger. Well, that is not necessarily true. But anyway, I just want to know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Do you believe that the drug dealer who sold the drugs should be charged with murder? Or is this something that lies completely on the person who decides to buy and use the drugs? What are your thoughts on that? And keep in mind that people are dying from unhealthy eating choices as well, and that unhealthy food is being provided by a system that is in place. What are your thoughts on that? In the comment section, share your thoughts. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, share and like this video, and with that, I'm out. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.